Hey folks, welcome back to part 2 of API testing. In this video, we will start by downloading Postman tool. So, here we are at postman.com/downloads. From here, we will download Postman tool. So, mine is 64-bit, so Windows. So, I'm downloading this. Let's wait until it gets downloaded. Now it is downloaded and let's open it. Now it is getting installed. So once it got installed, you should be able to see something like this UI. Okay. And first thing what we will do is we will create a collection. What is collection? So a collection lets you group related requests and easily set common authorized test script and variables for all the requests in it, which means that collection, it is a collection of APIs which are related set of requests. Okay, suppose if I am trying to perform login, before logging in all the APIs related to login, I can put it in one collection. So some of the APIs require same authorization. In that case, it will be very useful. So it is just a collection of APIs. Okay, so let's click on this collection. Yes. So we will give some name, say test collection. Okay. So now we created our first collection, test collection, right? So we don't have any request. Okay. So we will see what things we can do. So we have an option called new, right? On click of that, we got HTTP request. If we click on this, it will allow us to send a request. Okay, which means that suppose majorly we have four methods that we generally use. Get method is used whenever if I want to fetch the data. If I want the data already stored in database, I just want to get that. At that time I can use the get method. Next is the post method. Suppose if I want to create any record, new record, at that time I can use this post method. Put method. Okay, I have already created a data using post method and I want to update it. I want to update name or something I want to update. At that time, we can use this put method. Apart from that, we will use delete, which is used to delete. Okay, so only these are the four methods that we majorly concentrate on. And we suppose if I want to send any request, I can paste it here and I can click on send, which will hit the API, and in response we will get the data. Okay. And also when we see here, we have something called collection, which I mentioned that collection is a, you know, it is a collection of APIs basically. We have environment. In while testing, right, you will be having different environments like staging and then pre-production. We'll be having different environments, right? At that time, rather than creating new requests for each of the environment, you can set this global variable, and then using that we can hit the API. Okay. And workspace, it is also like we can create multiple workspace. Right now also we are working under my workspace, right, like that. And API documentation, it will allow us to create a documentation as well. And mock server, rather than creating an API, we can directly like simulate the endpoint using this mock server. And monitor, this is helpful whenever if we want to check the performance of the APIs, we can monitor. Okay, if you have scheduled a test, and then we can monitor it. And coming to the API, usually we don't create any APIs. We will just hit the APIs from the from the testing team. Usually, developers will be creating the new APIs. And we have certain other options, like these are the newly features that are in beta version right now. So we are not concentrating on all that. Okay. So yeah, now we have all this ready, and we have something called params. We can set the query parameters. We will study what is query parameters. Okay, and we have authorization. Here we will be having lot of authorizations. Okay, suppose if I want to create any um, request is there, which will authorize after the bearer token is, is also passed. At that time we can use this bearer token, or whatever token we want, we can generate that particular basic token or bearer token, or else AWS signature, whatever kind of authorization is required. If that API requires any authorization, that can be handled through this authorization. Okay, and headers. Coming to headers, we have certain headers. Suppose if I want the content type to be what? JSON. So let's see, we have something like this drop down, content type. So what are the content types that are available? If I see, we have application or JSON, or so something like this. If that request requires these headers to be passed, then we can pass this headers. Okay, and coming to the body, body can be whenever we will post any request, right? At that time this body is required. Post, or else the put method, if I want to edit anything at that time, this body is mandatory. Okay, if we want to create any data, means we should have that JSON here. And we have something like form data. Using this we can send it, or else form URL encoded. Okay, or else we can use the raw data, binary data, or GraphQL. Okay, all these we can use. Otherwise we generally use raw data, and we will send the request in the JSON format, and response we will get it here in this section. If you are able to see here, we will get the response. Next is the prerequisite script. This is a script. Okay, this is actually a JavaScript script. Okay, which are run before this request has been hit, or this request is sent. Okay, and tests are these are also the JavaScript scripts which are run after sending the request, or else after we get the response. Okay, at that time the scripts will be useful. And settings is generally, this is basic thing that is provided, so we are not much more interested on all that. Okay, so this is an high level overview of how Postman is. Okay, let's see some of the methods. So we have two different methods. One is HTTP and another one is HTTPS. HTTP, as the name suggests, it is an hypertext transfer protocol. Okay, HTTP offers set of rules and standards which govern how many information can be transmitted on the World Wide Web, which is www. Suppose if you want to browse anything, you will go to that website, and you go to the browser and you will give www.google.com or something, right? And before that, if you notice, there will be either HTTP or HTTPS, which defines it how much data can be transmitted using this World Wide Web. Okay, and HTTP provides standard rules for web browsers and servers to communicate, and it is also known as stateless protocol. Okay, next is HTTPS. HTTPS is also like HTTP, but with an additional advantage, which is actually a secured one. Hypertext transfer protocol, but with security. It provides much more security compared to HTTP. Okay, it is highly advanced and secure version of HTTP. Okay, and it allows the secure transaction by encrypting the entire communication with SSL. It provides encrypted and secure identification of network server, which means that while the data being transmitted, right, it provides an encryption in the communication. Okay, and coming to which is faster, like HTTP or HTTPS? Obviously, HTTP is faster because here it requires another handshake with SSL, right? So that is the reason HTTP is faster compared to HTTPS. let's see how does this API looks like. So these are all the things, if you notice. It starts with either HTTP or HTTPS. We just saw that, right? HTTP is secured, HTTP is hypertext, hypertext transfer protocol, but S provides the little security, right? So this is called as protocol. This is set of rules basically. Okay, and next is the local host. This defines the host name. And next is the port. So which port it is running on. Okay, so the port number will define on which port it is running on. And next is the path to resource. Path to resource is nothing but it is an application context basically. Uh, Within your application, where do you navigate? The files will be there, right? The structure of the file will be here basically. So if I want something like the folder name is like security, and within that security I am navigating to the next folder, so it is like a path folder, okay, within which inside it will go, right, like that. And there is something, if you notice, there is a question mark. What is this question mark means? Okay, so before any query param is written, okay, before we write any query parameter, so it appends this question mark, which says that these is the query parameters. If you remember, while creating a request, we saw that there is a params, right? At that time, I mentioned about the query parameter. If I give the value as, the tag as X and then the value as 1, that is how this query parameter will be generated. You can send multiple query parameters as well, like this. Okay. And coming to HTTP response codes, there are majorly 5 HTTP response code we can see. Informational responses. If there is something information, then we will get a response within 100 to 199. Okay. And success response, 200 to 299. Suppose if you get 200, then it is a successful message, just a successful message that the page has loaded properly or not. And if you get response with 201 at that time, which means that the data, or the if you have posted something, if you have uh, used the post method and created any request, at that time you will get 201, which is that the data has been created successfully. Okay. And redirection message, we it starts from 300 sequence, like 304, and then all this we will get. Okay. And client error responses, like 400 sequence. Suppose if you get 401, which is like unauthorized, right? You are not authorized, and but still you are trying to access that API. At that time, you will get the response 401. And 403 is forbidden. And most commonly, you might have seen 404, right? 404 is when the page is not found. If you are trying to hit an URL which is not the correct URL, at that time you might notice this 404 error. Okay, it is because of the client error, because you are making the mistake there. Okay. And server error response, which starts with 500 series. Okay, suppose if you get 500, it is internal server error. So this is all the response codes that we have majorly. Okay. And if you want to know how you can find the APIs via browser, so right click on the screen and click on inspect. Okay. So here you click on this network tab and then refresh this page. Now you will be able to see some of the APIs are there, right? If you click on this, you can see all the details came up. What is the request URL and what method is that, and then what is the status code. The page has loaded successfully, that is the reason the response code is 200. So all these details you will be able to get. This is the review, how it looks, sorry, the preview, and then this is the response. All these details you will be able to see from this network tab. So this is all for part 2. Stay tuned for the next series. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.